Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, on this fine Friday morning. We've made it to the end of another week, folks. Brilliant. We can all start thinking about the weekend. Now, before we get into this video, can I ask if you are yet to hit that subscribe button? Please do so. We are that close. Literally, at the time of doing this, we're about 60 away from 10,000 subscribers. Let's get over that line. Let's get that line behind us. When I started the channel, I never thought I'd get anywhere close to it, and here we are, right on the cusp. So please do hit that subscribe. Let's get over that level to be up to be a 5-digit channel, which would be just fantastic. Now, this is a story I did on a flash video last night, and it was about Humza Yousaf and the deletion of his WhatsApp messages. He, of course, denied doing it. When challenged, he said, "I do not recognise that statement about, deleting them." Turns out, he does recognise it, because that's exactly what he's done. When he's sitting there, under oath, and presented with evidence, he has finally had to admit that he did delete the WhatsApps, going against everything he said before, proving that as we all know, he's a liar. Well, he's been caught out in his lies. He's had to admit the truth, and it's rather embarrassing for him. He hates admitting the truth. Everybody in the SNP hates admitting the truth because the truth is so damn awful. Now, we do have a couple of stories about Humza and the COVID inquiry, because there's other things that have come out, but we're not going to amalgamate them all into one. Otherwise, you'd end up with a 2-hour video, and nobody wants that. So we'll just have a look at this one. We'll go in and we'll see what's going on. Here goes. So, Humza Yousaf did delete his WhatsApp messages, but scrambled to find them on an old phone. He knew he shouldn't have deleted them. He was instructed not to delete them, and then he went ahead and deleted them anyway. Destruction of evidence, contempt of court, perversion of the course of justice. He says he's found them on an old phone, but you have to ask, is that all of them? How many of them have been lost? What was said? Everything. There is a lot of things that is very, very shady about this. But the very fact that he's saying I managed to find them on an old phone, nobody believes this, and nobody believes the fact that he accidentally deleted them or deleted them as part of government guidance. Government guidance is to retain things, not to delete them. The very fact that everybody was deleting these things goes to show how shady it all is and how awful some of the things were discussed. If you think that, what was presented to the inquiry is going to be all of it, I think you're very, very naive. I'm not sure, but I think everyone is quite aware that a lot of it will never be presented. Anyway, the First Minister previously described reports that he had wiped his WhatsApp messages as those he did not recognise, but finally admitted that it was true, that he was just following Scottish Government guidance. So he's now admitting he's a liar. That means from this moment going forward, nothing that man can say will ever be taken at face value. His word is now broken. We know he's a liar. He's admitted lying, which means the trust has gone. Not that he ever had any, of course, but his official trust has gone. He can now be seen as someone who can frequently and really called a liar, which means that you can doubt everything. It means that in a court case, having admitted to lying about one thing, and the court will say, well, you've lied about that, why should we believe you about anything else? And they can use him, they can use that lie as a lead to show that everything else was a lie and that nobody should ever believe anything he says. With a bit of careful, judicious questioning, you can get him to admit anything really now, can't you? Anyway, Humza Yousaf finally admitted that he did delete his WhatsApp messages, but they fortuitously found them again on an old phone. By fortuitously found them, he realised he was going to go to jail perhaps, unless he did find them, and then remade them, got them back, or whatever he did, and bullshitted his way through questioning. He was grilled at the UK COVID inquiry as lead counsel Jamie Dawson KC, who is turning out to be very, very good, isn't he? He's asking some very pertinent questions, and you can watch some of them if you ever watch the videos of these. These guys are squirming. I do like to see a politician squirm. But Jamie Dawson is the master of the squirming politician, and good for him. But he was questioning him on the contents of the correspondence, as questions were raised about what types were being wiped. Now, it's always been said that decisions, important things weren't wiped. It was only sort of little things, unimportant things that were being wiped. And yet yesterday, of course, it was revealed in quite a stunning revelation, actually, when Liz Lloyd came on and said, no, we were making decisions on WhatsApp that were then being deleted. So the whole process of this, was the process we were trying to hide it. And she's saying that it was all politicised, it was deliberate. They didn't want some of these things going on to public record. And of course, we had the professor earlier, Professor Woolhouse. He was coming on. He was saying that decisions were being arrived at that were contrary to the correct scientific decision that should have been made. And so, she being Sturgeon, was doing completely the wrong thing, not because it was the right thing, but because it was the politically right thing. It was scientifically wrong, it was politically right for her. She was making that decision. And all these things were going through WhatsApp, and Liz Lloyd admitted they were doing that on WhatsApp and that they were being deleted. Then Humza Yousaf comes out and said, oh, no, we're not deleting anything, we've got nothing to hide. And then, when he's sitting there, and his little arse is in that chair, and he's under oath, and they have evidence, and he's forced to admit, yes, he did. He deleted stuff. It's a conspiracy, isn't it? This has got to be conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. It's got to be destruction of evidence. It's got to be all sorts of things. There's the Information Commissioner wants to prosecute them. There's all sorts of things. And then it's all shrouded in their lies, because they're now having to admit that they previously lied. This is just one big sack of bullshit coming from a party that needs to be declared as unfit for office. Anyway, the First Minister also confessed that he used multiple personal phones during the pandemic, like a drug dealer, I suppose, rather than just his government-issued phone, because he doesn't want stuff officially recorded. And that he was a heavy user of WhatsApp as a means of communication and used the app on a daily basis. He was forced to defend the SNP's policy of deleting informal messaging when a decision was made. And there you go. And that's his admission of destruction of evidence. Deleting informal messaging when a decision was made. And remember, all the way through the same decisions weren't made on WhatsApp. There was no government by WhatsApp. He's admitting that they deleted it after the decision was made. Conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. Do you know what the life sentence for that is? Oh, sorry, I give it away. Do you know what the sentence for that is? It's life, yes. And if I'd have thought about what I was saying before I said it, hey-ho, it's a life sentence. But also, indeed, is destruction of evidence. Perversion of the course of justice carries up to a life sentence, and destruction of evidence can carry up to a life sentence. Humza Yousaf deserves 2 life sentences. Consecutive. He serves one and then he serves the other. Anyway, this was the excuse used by the likes of Nicola Sturgeon and Jason Leach for not holding on to their messages. Oh, that it wasn't important. And yet it turns out it was. With Mr. Dawson pointing out that it should be for the inquiry to decide what needs to be kept, not them. Mr. Yousaf insisted that all salient points of decisions made on WhatsApp were given to the corporate record by ministers' private offices. Well, he can say that, but he can't prove it. He can't show that there were decisions that were made that aren't in the record, can he? Unless he's still got them on his phone, where there's a record that isn't on that there. One does not mean the other, Just because it's in the official record doesn't mean the decision wasn't made. In a written submission to the inquiry in October last year, the First Minister said he had deleted all WhatsApp messages from the COVID pandemic 1 month after they were sent, but the messages were later recovered from an older phone still in his possession. He is just a two-faced liar. Nothing that he says can ever be believed in future. Nobody can trust him. Nobody ever did, really, but nobody can trust him going forward officially. He's a self-admitted liar. He's now admitting to the perversion of justice. He's now admitting to the deletion or destruction of evidence, and he's now breaking the law on the freedom of information or retaining of information where important government decisions are made. All of these things are crimes. Let's arrest him, let's try him, let's throw him in jail, and let's see then if the good people of Dundee want him to be living with them. Probably not. Certainly the people of Pollock will still vote for him because, you know, hey. Anyway, coming up, rounding off, finishing that one, we move on to the next one. There's a lot of them today, I'm afraid. They're all corrupt, aren't they? Anyway, coming up. I'm going to suggest that as this inquiry goes on, and as more and more people basically spill the beans, I think Nicola Sturgeon's influence and power will wane. We saw yesterday, of course, that the professor was telling people that she didn't listen to expert advice and went ahead with what she wanted. And that yesterday also, of course, Liz Lloyd, her biggest confidant, her big chum, political advisor, all, you know, so closely aligned, also basically stabbed her in the back and dropped her in it and said, no, we did this instead. Don't listen to what Nick said. This is what... Because Liz Lloyd wants to move away from being sort of encapsulated in that bubble of guilt. She wants to get herself out and distance herself. And I think a lot more people will. And I think, and as they do, she loses her power, she loses her authority, she loses her influence, and other people will be prepared to come out and just say what was going on. And I think with it also will be a loss of the protection of the party, the protection of the establishment. People will be prepared to let Nick carry the can. They don't want to go to jail. They'll start saying, look, somebody's got to go to jail. Let's make it her. And they'll all come out. And I think the truth will come out. And I think a lot of criminal doings will come out. A lot of corruption will come out. And I think ultimately she may well end up in jail because I think even the establishment now know somebody has to carry it. And why shouldn't it be her? They certainly don't want it to be them. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this. We will round off this one. We'll move on to the next one. There are loads of these to do. It is such a day. But we'll tick them over. We'll crack on. Thank you very much for watching. Do hit that subscribe button. Let's get to that 10,000. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you later. Bye.